Hey, welcome everybody. So, I haven't done a long format video in a while, but I figured we'll do one today, setting up the new firmware on the Sunlu. First off, I just want to say thank you guys for your subscriptions, all our new subscribers. Welcome and thank you very much. We're up to 329 as of this video. And I gotta say, going through my content here, this video here, man, just blew up. And that's where all the new subscribers coming from, so thank you guys so much for that. As you can see, we're still skyrocketing on up, so let's see how far this video gets. And also, I just want to let you guys know that,
You're a cunt. You're a cunt. Stan says you're a cunt. Cunt.
Well, tell Stan to off!
You're a continuing source of inspiration.
Okay, change of scenery, different place, because I have all my stuff on this computer. As you can see, the Sunlu's out here. We're going to be flashing new firmware on this for the probe. And we'll get that all set up, and I'll show you guys the process. So this was a custom mount, so I'll be showing you a custom probe offset. So this is kind of how I done it here. As you can see, the nozzle will be on the top right corner. That's where our probe sits accordingly, and I took some measurements. Also, just to remind you guys that this will be a USB firmware upload. On here, so you have to have one of these USB cables. You cannot use the SD cards for these, I believe, because this is an 8-bit board. There's also two variations of boards with these. Sometimes you just have a default Sunlu board. The other ones you'll have a printed on the board. It'll be SH_2560_A4988. So that'll be on the board, and you just take these three screws off up front and look down in there, and that's where it'll be. So the firmware we're using will be the Sunlu S8 firmware from TH3D. If you go over to their help and then downloads, you'll see Unified 2 firmware there, and just pick it up for this machine. Okay, once you have downloaded that, it'll pop up as this TH3D Unified 2 Sunlu ramps. You're going to want to extract that folder to wherever you want to extract it to, and you'll end up with this one. And you open it up, you'll have firmware, the installation guide, README, and STL file downloads. Alright, so you're going to want to open up Visual Studio with a PIO extension. So this will be the home screen you get for Platform IO. So under here, you want to go to Open Projects. Under Open Projects, wherever you stored your extracted file is where you're going to want to pull it out of. So we already done that, and this is where it'll be here, so we'll end up with this here. So under Firmware, up on the left here, you want to go to Configuration H and open that up, and this is where it'll bring you. Okay, now we're under the Configuration H. You'll be reading down through some of this. It'll be all green, nothing's commented out. So right here we'll say Sunlu printers, and right here this would be the SH2560 board. If you have that board, uncomment the line down below. So all you want to do is uncomment that if you have that board, which I do. So we'll uncomment that. And now we have an EZABL probe mounts. Well, we don't have the OEM shroud, we have our own, so we wanted to find a custom probe on ours. And sorry for recording the screen, but it's a lot easier than recording the screen on this, trying to match up sound and move it to another computer, so kind of getting the phone effect right now. Alright, so that's the end of our printer selection. So that was pretty easy for the Sunlu. There's just two different options if you have a Sunlu or if you have this board specifically, which I do. So now our EZABL advanced settings. So our points here, we got 3 points per row. So you'll be going down, say this is your build mat, you'll hit 1, 2, and 3, and then it'll go 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3. So you have a 3x3 grid. We have a large build plate, so we'll probably do a 5x5 grid on there. And then this is our probe edge, how far from the edge of the bed to probe from. Use 50 if using binder clips. This also sets edge insert value for manual mesh leveling, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so 35 will be fine for us because we don't have any clips because we have our EasyFlex plate. So this is our fast probing, works with most machines and all EZABL sensors. And this is our super fast probing, only works with EZABL Pro sensors, which we do have a probe sensor, but since we have a larger machine, we'll probably just leave it as fast probing and see how that works. So this one, heaters on during probing. Heaters will stay on during probing. May reduce accuracy. Sorry about that. We don't need to do that. Probing steppers off. Don't have to worry about that. Slow down moves. Make weird noises, vibrations when it's probing the mesh. We don't know that for sure yet, so we'll hold off on it. So custom probe settings for EZABL or BL Touch. Okay, so this is where we're going to have to set it up. So it says if enabled, custom probe, which we did have, kind of shows you how to check that offset. So it tells you whether it's positive or negative. So it says do not enter a number for the Z position. Of course, we don't have a Z offset for it. So when is it a positive? If the probe is right of the nozzle of the offset on the x-axis is positive. So in right here, this would be your nozzle. If it's this way, to the right, that's a positive. To the left, it is a negative. So according to our sheet here, our nozzle's over here, so that, and it's to the left, so that'll be a negative value. So we'll have a negative 44. We'll call it 44. We're just going to round these. So we need to define our offset. So our X here be a negative 44 to the left of the nozzle, and then if the probe is in front of the nozzle, the offset on Y is negative, which it is in front. So this is our front, and it is forward. So that'll also be negative as well. And that is a 14. So we'll hit negative 14 on there. So there we go. Our values have been defined. Okay. Once you've done what you want to do with here, got the settings the way you like it, down here on the bottom left, let me adjust the camera a little bit for you guys. There's a little blue check mark. We're going to go ahead and click that. That'll start compiling this code up and see if we got everything correct. Alright, green bar of success. So we have a good build here, I should say, a good build. So now we have to get it over to the machine. So we will have to recompile it again, but now we have to do it over USB, and I'll show you how to find the COM port that you need to use and everything for that. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Okay, so back here at your Platform IO homepage, you can go down to devices, and let me refresh this now. And for some reason it's not refreshing. Okay, for some reason it's being a little wonky, but anyways, when you're here, it'll show what COM ports you're using. If you have your printer plugged in, it'll be on the screen. Just unplug it, hit refresh, and see what disappeared, and that's how you know what COM port you're using. Plug it back in, hit refresh again, and you'll see it pop back up. That's how you find what COM you're using. So I'm using COM 3 for the printer. Okay, now that we know what COM port we are using, we're using COM 3. You want to open up platform io.ini file down there. That'll bring you to here. So this is going to be for your config for your upload. So as you can see on line 21, where my cursor is, it says Mega 2560. So that's the board. There's two ways to go about this. You can scroll all the way down until you can find the COM port, or you can also highlight that, Control F for find, and hit the down arrow, and that'll bring you down to the next line that it finds that. So right here it says upload port on line 438, upload port COM1. we want to change that to COM3. Okay, now that we have COM3 selected here, we are good to go ahead and upload this. So, you want to make sure your printer is turned on, it is plugged in, you have the right COM port selected, and just go ahead down here, and on the bottom left, right there, you'll see an arrow, and that arrow will be your upload. So, go ahead and click that, and we'll go ahead and start executing this. It'll be processing, download, unpack, and we should start seeing some stuff take place down here, and we'll go ahead and keep an eye on it, and I'll see you guys when it's done. Okay, so a slight error on my port. That did fail, but it wasn't the build issue, it was it couldn't open a port. Make sure you remove the little hashtag symbol there. Make sure you remove that from your upload port to tell it it's not an automatic detection no more. Use that port specifically. So now we should have a working build. So we're going to go ahead and click upload again and see what we end up with. So we do see it is compiling now, so hopefully that's a good sign. Okay, it looks like I have a bad path issue. So let me give me a second and we'll try to figure out what's going on here. Okay, we finally got a success here. So what I did wrong is, I'll admit when I'm wrong. You have to define both Sunlu and the Sunlu board you're using. That's what my huge problem was. So we got a success. It took us about almost 4 minutes to do this. So we need to reset our EEPROM. So let me take you off our little thing here. Okay, it's right here. Index error. Yep. Reset. And settings stored. So we are going to just go ahead and reset the machine. We'll shut it off and turn it back on and see what's going on. And then we'll take this back up into the other room and we'll get a pointer face on there and start messing with some stuff. And as you can see, it says EZABL ready. Alright guys, back in the other office here. So I couldn't get a prompter face to work. It just wouldn't connect to the printer at all. So we're just going to be doing what we can from here. So we're doing a little bit of calibration. We're about 1 millimeter off the bed here, and we're just going to calibrate the sensor if we can. Very, very small little opening in here. And there's a piece of plastic in the way. So, just until it turns on, there we are. So, you turn it to the left. Once it pops off, very slowly to the right. And as soon as it kicks on, you should be good to go. We're just going to double check right quick. We're going to go back to motion. And home the Z. Okay. So, we should be good with that. Let's go ahead and do an auto home, make sure everything's going to work. Alright, looks very good, very good. Let's go ahead and also try to do a bed level and see what we get. So, level bed. This should be our 5-point. Okay, that looks like it's finally finished up. We'll go ahead and home it again. Very nice, very nice. Alright, now with the probe working, let's see if we can't get a offset set for this thing. So we're going to go to motion, down here on the screen. Let's see, we're going to go to move axis, move Z. We're at 5, we're going to move that down to 0. Now we're at 0. We're a little above the bed here. We're back out of that. And we should be able to go to configuration, Z offset baby step, and we're going to move this down. Alright, now that we're really close, I'm going to grab a sticky note and move it under the nozzle until it grabs it. I hate these kinds of sticky notes. Okay, sticky notes in place. And I'm getting closer. Okay, now it's thoroughly grabbing that there. Okay, so back to this screen. Press down on your knob. Scroll down to store settings. And then we have that beep confirmation there. And now we can go back to the info screen. So that'll give us a pretty close Z offset there. We'll get the final one during our first print. And also, if you guys remember, we did install a different extruder. We uploaded a new firmware again, so we're probably going to have to adjust our extruder steps. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so I've got to reinstall our filament holder here. There we are. And I'm going to throw a spool of our silver on here. It seems to barely just fit. There. And we'll set this down on here. Like so, and let's get to feeding this through. Alright. Okay, so now we need to get our temperature going. Nozzle. Let's bring this up to Oh, let's say 215-ish. Yeah, like 210. Yeah, you know, yeah, 210 will be fine. Okay, now we'll wait for that to heat up. Okay, I got the filament fed through, preheated, ready to go. And now we're gonna do a 100mm filament runout test right on the machine. It's gonna be a little janky, but it'll get us pretty close to what we need. So all we do is just move the extruder 100mm. And we're gonna kind of run this and see if that's a good pace, which I think it will be. It's moving nice and slow. So we'll wait for this to stop, and then we'll go ahead and get our marks and do a test. Alright, that seemed to work pretty good. Let's go ahead and set our mark. We'll measure from the end of the runout sensor here. So we got 100 mils marked out on our calipers. Okay, so we got our mark. From there to the black Sharpie mark there is 100. So go back to our extruder and move it another 100. Alright, so we just finished. As you can see, we are shy of the mark, so we'll go ahead and measure the remaining distance we have. Okay, so our remainder looks like it's about 33.9 on there. So, time to do a little bit of math. We'll get our steps. Our E steps per millimeter are at 95 right now. Okay, so I ended up rounding. So 34 millimeters remained. So, telling it to extrude 100 millimeters at 95.5 millimeters steps per millimeter gave us 66 millimeters extruded. We want to find out 100 millimeters at X steps per millimeter wants to give us 100 millimeters extruded. So we got to find X. Okay, so we set up a cross multiplication. So we got 95.5 over 66 equals X over 100. Cross multiply those. Get 9550 equals 66X divided by 66. So 144.7 should equal X, which that should give us our steps per millimeter to extrude 100 millimeters. Let's double check that. And how we'll do that is we'll go to Configuration, Advanced Settings, Steps per Millimeter, Extruder, and we will, well, it was 95 on the dot, but oh well, so we'll set it to 144 and see what we get. So cranking it up, crank up to, yeah, 144. There we go. Alright, so now that we're at 144 steps, we are gonna remove that. We're still at 210. We'll go back to motion, move axes, extruder by 10, and we'll do another 100. As we can tell, they're definitely moving a lot quicker. So we'll see how this turns out for us. Okay, it looks like it was a successful extrusion there. So let's go ahead and crank this out again. I made the mark another 100 right off the very edge of this sensor. That should be right up against this. So let's go ahead and run the test again. Another 100. Focus, you bastard. And it should be pretty close. And 144 ended up being really close. So I pulled it out just to double check. It just twisted a little bit, but it's right on the inside of that mark. So I think we should be set with our extrusion again at 144. Sounds familiar, so I think we're pretty close. Let's go ahead and get something on here for a first print and see how it does. Alright, before we get anything started here, if you go over to th3dstudios.com here and you look up EZABL bed leveling starting G-code, we got this G-code right here that we can use for our stuff. So we're just gonna go ahead and Control-C, copy that, and then we'll go into our process slicer. And for here, I'm going to switch all this over to my Sunlu settings. And then we're going to go to printer settings, custom G-code. This is our starting G-code here. We're going to get rid of all that completely. And Control-V. And that'll be our new startup G-code. So we're going to go ahead and save this. And there we are. We're in the settings here. We're going to go ahead and set our skirts up to 3. Hopefully that'll give us enough distance there to set our Z heights pretty good. And we'll go ahead and save that. For speed, let's see, we're at 50. Let's drop everything to 50 for now. And kind of see how we are looking with that. Travel's at 120, first layer speed is at 25, max print speed at 85. Okay, do that. Advanced, extrusion width, all 0.5, infill perimeter overlaps at 40%. Okay, I think we are set, so let's go ahead and load something up. Let's load. We can go ahead and load a benchy, I guess. So, infill 20%. Let's go ahead and slice that. There we are. Should take an hour and 23. That's kind of long. We'll see how it does. This is a 0.2 millimeter layer height. We might end up changing this to a 0.24 just for some speed, but we'll see how this does. That should give us a nice little test. So no supports, 20% infill. Let's go ahead and save this and get this exported. Alright, got that set up and saved. Go ahead and insert. There we are. Let's get back to our home screen here. And attach our SD, print from SD, and this is our EZABL Benchy PLA G-code. Start. Okay, we are heating the bed, and let's see what happens. This stuff kind of reminds me of like a Jolly Rancher or something while it's printing. It looks gooey or something because it's kind of shiny. Alright. I'm going to leave you guys playing here just to see how the starting G-code looks out. I know you guys are a little bit far back, but as you can see, I'm printing out new tripod parts so I can actually use my tripod again. So it's probing right now, so it'll do a auto bed level before every print, it looks like. Right here it tells you what point you're probing. Okay, it says heaters recovering. Here we are doing some movement. Looks like we're gonna have to make an adjustment on that. Oozing crap right off the side here. So we'll have to make an adjustment for that. That's nice. That's real cool. Okay. Let's see. Yep, we're gonna have to do a little bit of baby stepping. Do tune. Baby step. Smash that in just a little bit more. Oh, man, you guys are way out of focus over here. That skirt's just a little messy, but I think everything else might be okay. I think we're good right there. Alright, so we're back at the info screen. Okay, I think we might have a little bit of an over extrusion issue, so we're going to go ahead and stop this and check our slicer settings and change that extrusion width and see if we can't fix that just in the slicer. Yeah, definitely a lot of over extrusion there. Let's try to fix that. So our extrusion width is going to go back up to 0.6 and see if that helps. While we're at it, we went ahead and moved the nozzle over a little bit there for those two purge lines. Alright, and we're gonna go ahead and get this fired back up and see how we do. I'll see you when we get to baby stepping it down. Okay, our print is finished. So, excuse the paint. Now it's just some printer settings and stuff. So this is with Prusa I'm working on here. So I haven't really set up a good profile for this machine with Prusa. But we did get it printing something. This was that little bit of over extrusion I was talking about with these ones here, especially this one. But they are solid parts. But yeah, so the main goal was make sure the probe worked. The probe does work. It's actually been working pretty good. Done a few test prints already. Other than that, I mean, it's super simple. It kind of runs just like the Tronxy. We set up that Gcode there at the start, so it'll come through and do the bed leveling as soon as you click whatever you want to print. So you ain't gotta worry about that. It should save the, you know, whatever you had that baby step down to, and it's good to go. So all you gotta do is just, from now, so you come down to print from SD and click whatever part you need, and it'll get right over to getting that thing set up. That'll get hot, probe out this, and ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop that, and it'll go ahead and home the X and Y on there. But yep, we're all set, ready to go. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.